Hello, it's week 3 of this particular module, SSCA, and we're looking at competitive strategies. We're looking at the competitive advantage or strategic advantage, including timing and positioning. And very importantly, we're looking at international markets as part of your strategy as well. So instead of me just rambling on and regurgitating stuff that you've probably read about already, today I'm going to be speaking to Mike Volhouter, who's the CEO of PDC, one of the most successful manufacturing, and it's a foundry, certainly in South Africa. They've moved into international markets. We're going to be finding out how they did it strategically and what it means for them. So have a listen to this. So here we are in the foundry, and I'm speaking to Mike Volhouter, CEO of PDC. Mike, you've been going for quite a long time. How long has this company been in existence?
We've been around for 65 years.
65 years?
We've been through 3 sort of transitions of small industry ownership.
Yeah.
And we've consciously made a move to move away from the small business into more corporate industry now.
So a lot of companies don't make it from being a small business into being a big one. How did you guys make the transition?
We've seen a lot of small companies in our industry on the decline, and really family-owned businesses that haven't invested in the business, have no succession planning. And those are 3 things that we've worked very hard on.
Succession planning, what is the other 2?
Reinvesting in the business,
yeah,
and finding a decent-sized shareholder.
Wow. So those were strategic decisions?
Yeah, consciously made. We worked with them 3 or 4 years before we sold the business. We started putting a plan together.
So how do you view strategy then in growing a business like this?
Absolutely critical. And we've been growing the business for the last 7 years at 24% per annum in an industry that's declining, companies are closing, and it really is all about looking into the future and putting serious plans in.
You've been known to say that strategy helps you to say no.
Yeah, you've got to say no to some projects. You can't just take everything on.
Okay.
So we've been very careful in which projects we take. We're a very diverse business, diverse in our markets, diverse in our processes, and that's helped us going forward.
All right. Can you also say that strategy is also about saying yes to the big opportunities?
Yeah, you've got to find those big opportunities. We were dealing in America with 5 small companies, 5 different states, and it was quite difficult. So we chose the company that we like doing business with. That's one of our philosophies, doing work with companies we like. So we went to this company and said, what happens if we stop doing business with the other 4 companies and only do business with you? Can we increase our turnover by 10-fold in 3 years? And they said, great.
Wow.
And it's gone from 10,000 a month to 300,000 a month. We're now doing 1 million components a month. It really was a good move to put that plan in place.
So was that part of your moving overseas and becoming international? Was that part of the strategy as well?
It's really part of our diversification. And we've got half our business local, half export. Exporting is tough. Very tough on cash flow. And if you don't know the overseas market, you haven't been playing in new technology, you really won't survive out there.
Let's move on and find some other places. There's some very interesting things over here. I just want to show them to you as well. Mike, when you're competing overseas, you've got a lot of competition, particularly from the East, who are cutting everybody's prices, and that seems to be the winning formula. Is that always the case?
Yeah, the East is a tough market to compete against. We find that when we're competing with labor versus labor, we're not competitive. However, when we automate and put robots in, we're very competitive. About 1/3 of our business this year will be on work that used to be done in China, that we brought back here by automation.
Wow. I see, but there's certain things that are still very labor intensive. For example, the guys behind you, could that not be done by a machine?
Yeah, we're busy in the process of automating that. This job currently takes about 12 people. We'll reduce it down to about 3 people. In our automation in the business, we will never retrench anyone. We just deploy them.
So because of your growth strategy, you're able to still keep the people, create new jobs, but your
your actual growth is exponentially higher than that.
Yeah. We find typically that when you automate, your costs go down, so you're more profitable, so you can sell more, so you need more people. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Excellent. Behind you over here, we've got it seems like a very old process of actually melting metal, doing it by hand, breaking off the stuff that doesn't work. Is that all part and parcel of your process?
This is typically the old way of doing it. We've consciously been investing 2.5 times our depreciation every year into the business.
2.5 times investment.
2.5 times our depreciation.
Yes, yeah.
Which is a massive amount.
Is that more than other companies strategically?
Yeah. Typically our factory will be roughly, the equipment will be 10 years old. The industry norm is about 30 years. And we find by doing this, our productivity goes up, by rejects coming down, cycle times improving and maintenance going down.
Okay, I want to discuss modern technology. Do you have a place that has something that's more modern than this way of doing things?
Yeah, sure, we'll walk around.
Okay, Mike, when I walk in over here, I think that there's a bit of a different culture. People seem to be more energetic, they're more alive, they're chasing something. Is this a culture that has been cultivated over the years as the company has grown and as it has become as successful as it is?
Yeah, I think it's a culture that maybe evolved over time. We're very focused on our employees and our customers.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of work with our employees in terms of engagement, and they respond accordingly. We've got a 99% attendance, which is unheard of in our industry. The norm is 93, 94%.
Yes.
And we believe we're an employer of choice in the city, which enables us to get really top-class people. We invest about 10 days of training per employee per year, which is key to going forward. And we also do a lot of work with our customers and suppliers. We've got a long relationship with them, not necessarily investing in them, but spending time with them, seeing what's good for our business and good for their business.
You've also, for example, got a clinic which is an industry leader. Is that just for the employees? Is that just to score points? What is it?
No, it really is for our employees. I mean, it's a clinic where we have 2 full-time occupational nurses. A doctor comes in twice a week, and we do everything for our employees. Primary health. There's no need for them to go to a hospital for basic medicals, and we give free ARVs to the guys who've got HIV, flu vaccines once a year, perhaps prostrate. We do everything for the guys, and it really pays back, and you look at our attendance.
Yeah, amazing. So you become an employer of choice, you get the best people, but there's something extra as well, where people, do you find that they give extra?
Yeah, the guys are passionate here. They certainly go the extra mile. It's no big deal for someone to stay on after hours, not being paid overtime to get an order out for a customer. People love wearing corporate clothing, although it's not compulsory. And we do a lot for our staff. Last year in the drought, we gave everyone a 1,000-litre JoJo tank to help them with that.
Everybody on staff?
Everyone on staff, exactly.
Got a 1,000-litre JoJo tank to overcome the problems of the drought?
Yeah, something small like that. This year we gave everyone full access to Wi-Fi at the factory, and we've told everyone that in 5 years' time Unless you're computer literate, you won't have a job here. So we'll be going through Microsoft Office with everyone over the next 5 years, and everyone needs to be computer literate.
Amazing.
We're moving in that realm of technology these days.
Sure. Okay, we're going to get onto the technology in a moment. Tell me about your culture or your values when dealing with your supply chain. You know, people up and down, how do you deal with that? Is it all just tied up in contracts?
No, very much a handshake with a lot of our suppliers. We do long-term business with them. We don't shop around every month with pricing. Really, the relationship is the key part of it. And as I said, with our customers, we do business with people we like. It's so much easier. You can trust them, and the business is just more secure in the long term.
So they trust you, you trust them, and that helps business.
Yeah, no question about it.
Cool. So talking about moving into new technologies, PDC is moving into 3D printing, which not only prints in plastic, but can actually start moving very soon into more metals. There's phenomenal developments in the area of 3D printing. Now, Mike tells me that recently a jet engine was made with a 3D printer, a working jet engine out of metal. So for this kind of company, strategically, you have to consider where the future is going and what technology is going to do, particularly with the disruptive technology such as 3D printers. Mike, how important is this whole area of technology? When you do your assessments and you go through your pestle sort of scenarios and you look at technology, your area is technology based actually, but this seems to be 2,000 years old, this kind of pouring molten metal.
Yeah, technology is a key part of our business. We make a point of going to a technical conference once a year just to see what's out there, and that's what caused us to get into 3D printing. Admittedly, it's only plastic at the moment, but we do see 3D metal printing coming on maybe 5 years' time. So we're really just playing in the plastic field at the moment to see where it's taking us, and we'll be there when it does come into production. Maybe low volume production initially, and it'll step up eventually.
Have you made a strategic decision to be at the cutting edge or early adopters?
Early adopters. We're not going to be the bleeders. They're looking at electric cars now as well. We know that's going to be a thing of the future. So we're looking at what market there is for us to make products for those sort of vehicles. And again, it will only affect us in 5-10 years' time. But we need to start working on it now.
And those are all strategic decisions.
Yeah.
So timing is very important in how you introduce technology such as this and take it beyond the old pouring of metal.
Yeah, the foundry that you saw early on is very much an old type of foundry, and that has the technical aspects haven't changed a lot, except automation is a key part of it now.
Yes.
But we need this sort of technology for our growth going forward. We intend growing by 24% a year for the next 10 years.
So what does that mean in monetary terms and people?
It'll take our business from a 300 million rand a year company turnover to 4 billion in 10 years' time. We can't afford to increase the labor or the employee number, that sort of number, so we're going to go from 300 to 1,000, which will mean that we'll have to automate a huge amount of that business.
More and more international business?
Yeah, probably, yeah. Probably stick to that 50% local, 50% export, depending on what the exchange rate's doing, which we have no control over.
Yeah. How significant is it when you consider being adaptable? Because the exchange rate can change week to week, month to month. You said a strategy. Does it have to stay in place forever?
Now, people talk about having a 10-year strategy and you cast it in stone. I think those days are gone. We talk about a 10-year strategy that's cast in jelly, so it's a bit fluid, it can move around. And yeah, we'll be moving around as the technology moves and government incentives move, exchange rates move, we'll move with them.
Amazing. Just lastly, for our MBA students, you're an MBA yourself, but you come from this engineering big environment over here. Engineering moves slowly, MBA kind of technology?
Yeah, I did my MBA about 10 years ago, which means I have a quarter of an MBA now.
Why do you say that?
I think an MBA has a half-life of maybe 5 years. You know, the volume of a sphere is always going to be 4/3 pi r cubed. Acceleration to gravity is going to be 9.8 meters per second until doomsday. When I did my MBA, the sort of focus was on specialization, focus on one product, one process, and be the best in the world. 5 years later, you do your MBA and they say diversification. So I think an MBA's got a limited lifespan, and maybe after 10 years, guys, you need to redo this thing.
Or stay abreast of it all the time like you have.
Yeah.
That's it. Mike Volutta, thank you very much. This has been great speaking to you, and PDC, and all the best for the future.
Good.
There you go.
Good luck, guys.